for the YouTube subscribers. Well, subscribe already. Hit the fucking like button and subscribe before I knock your ass out, man. I ain't fucking with you, man.
UFC 276 live on pay-per-view, back at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. It is fight week. It is International Fight Week. A very exciting card this weekend from top to bottom. We have some good fights to discuss, especially on the main card. A big betting card this weekend, most likely for myself and clients. I'll be breaking down the main card like usual. Free picks, leans, maybe what to avoid from a betting standpoint. Remember, I'm here from a betting standpoint, right? With lines, telling you maybe what to avoid due to prices, where I think there's good value, and of course breaking down the fights at a high level as well. But it's more from a betting standpoint, right? And what makes sense to bet, maybe what makes sense to fade. Systemsportscapping.com if you would like this full card and sign up for all my personal plays. I don't bet just UFC, not just a one-hit wonder. We bet anywhere from 5 to 7 sports. A little slow right now with NBA and NHL finishing, but we do currently handicap the UFC, golf, and what am I forgetting? Some soccer here and there. Obviously, World Cup will be coming, and MLB as well. Structured betting system over there. Remember, 5% of handicappers profit long term. This is a system profit long term, right? Anyone could hit a good week or a good month, but we profit long term in all sports. And that's the goal, right? No one cares about your one big win or your one big month. It's consistently throughout the month and the years, right? That's what I like to do over here. System Sports Capping is the website, but System Capping is Instagram and Twitter. Go give me a follow over there on Instagram and Twitter. Sports betting info, sports news, free picks, weekly updates on all sports. Trying to grow over there. Let's get into the UFC 57 recap before we get into the pay-per-view card that I'm excited about. I'm definitely excited about. And again, it's the judges strike again. I'm not going to say it's a big robbery, but it's a clear 3-2 win for Arman Tsarukyan. He didn't get it. I don't understand. Sometimes it's always different, right? One time the judges won't care if you take him down. Let's say Gamrot took him down a handful of times, but what did he do when he took them down? One time I think he got the back. No serious submission threat. He did get the back one time, sure. He took him down a few times, but Arman got up most of the time. He reversed it too at times. And there just was no serious threat from Gamrot throughout the fight. Landed a couple good strikes, but Arman clearly won the striking exchanges, which I expected. Gamrot maybe a little better in the wrestling department, which I kind of expected. I thought it would be super close, but Gamrot was a little better. Very high-level fight. Very exciting grappling between both guys, but you've seen Arman was the better striker, right? He dropped him twice or 3 times. I don't think the third time was counted, but he did drop him 3 times in the fight. I think one he went to his knee. Maybe they didn't count that, but remember, he kicked his leg. He dropped him with a spinning fist too, and they just maybe they didn't see it. That was the 4th round where I gave it to him, right? Gamrot just didn't do much. When he did get the takedowns, and he didn't have a ton of control time. Now we'll go back to other fights with the judges where they didn't judge the takedowns or the control time at all, but for some reason in this fight they did. So it's just very confusing, right? I don't know what to believe anymore, and I don't know what the judges are doing, right? So that's why it's very hard to get to a best bet level. I've limited my best bets due to this, especially if you think the fight's going to be close and possibly go to the judges. So yeah, that's the overall thing. It would have been a perfect card from a free for last week's video on free sides. We hit everything except the Arman fight. Client card was 3-3, no profit there. If Arman won the fight, we would have been laughing again for another profitable card, but it did not go his way. Like I always say, don't leave it to the judges, right? Don't leave it to the judges. We were on Rakhmonov. Easy win there. Very impressive by Rakhmonov. Very impressed. He finished Magny, which I was up in the air if he was going to finish it or if it was going to be a decision. He found the finish. Very excited to see. You know, I would love to see Rakhmonov and Khamzat. Chimaev and Rakhmonov would be a dream. I also gave you guys Moises by submission. That was a client play as well at plus 260. Plus 260 Moises by submission. And give you guys Chris Curtis as well. And that also was a client play. So I did give out some client plays last week for you guys. Hopefully you guys did jump on those. Let's get into the weekly update. Weekly update UFC. UFC 114 and 61. This is very long term, guys. 65% all fights. Long term. 58 and 25. That's 70% shorter term run. Very happy with that. Very happy with that. Long term profit in units, 58 units. PGA plus 70 units in the prop market long term. Didn't have a winning week in the PGA last week. 65% best bets long term. 5 straight profitable majors. 5 straight profitable majors. That's where I usually go bigger cards. You know, sometimes these smaller tournaments can be difficult to predict. So majors, I usually like to, go a little heavier. I'll have best bets available in the majors. Sometimes the smaller tournaments, like example this week, John Deere Classic, I pretty much stayed away from it. I have 1 bet in it. I have more bets actually in the Irish Open this week than John Deere. And 2 outrights the last 10 events. The NHL season has come to an end, guys, and it was a great season. We ended it with a nice Colorado Game 6 winner. Small price on that at minus 115. We jumped on Colorado there. 66% regular season in the NHL. Very pleased with that, beating it by a percentage from last year's 65%. 43 and 16 run to end the year. That's 73%, guys, to end the year. Started a little slow in the NHL, but we got going. 16 and 6 in the playoffs. 16 and 6 in the playoffs. Over 20 units overall in playoffs and regular season. Another good year in the NHL for the system. Doesn't matter the sport over here, guys. MLB, very low volume right now as we are in a little bit of a cold streak after starting the season ridiculous. So I expected it. The regression, maybe not this as much, but, it's MLB regular season, just a shit show. It's not something you want to invest in every day, betting on MLB in the regular season. It's just not something that I do. It's not something I really focus on in the MLB. I do focus on the futures in the MLB, which I gave you guys already, is the Yankees team total over. That's going to definitely win. That was like over 93, I think, or something like that, 93 wins. I gave that as a free pick for you guys on my website, so that's definitely going to cash. Definitely not worry about that. That's why I focus more on the futures there. Game by game regular season, sure you can play pitch-up matchup streaks, batting average comparisons. You could do that, but it's just not something that I'm going to do or focus on a ton. NBA reminder for you guys. 66% regular season as well, which is my highest actually NBA regular season so far. And the NFL reminder, which was outstanding. Can't wait for the NFL, guys. It's around the corner. A couple months, you're going to be seeing NFL videos back from me. Let's hear from my friend Meredith before we get into this card.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
As I always say, guys, shop around for the best prices. Not the best prices, it's just market early opening style prices. Like, comment, share. It helps me out a lot. Tell your friends about me. Tell someone about me. And leave a comment as well. It does help me out in the algorithm. This algorithm's tricky to learn. Like I mentioned, the views are all over the place, but just trying to grow here. I do think the content is great to do so. Let's get into the main event, guys. Main event and the main card. Main event and main card that we have here. Grab some water before I do that. All right. Israel Adesanya minus 400 versus Cannonier plus 310. The fight Israel always seemed to want. He always saw this happening. He always kind of wanted this fight. And now we're here. We're here, right? We saw some Volk and Max fight. Some chatter of that being the main event. I don't know. I think it could have been, but I think Israel's probably the biggest star out of everyone. So I get it. I get why he's in the main event slot here. You know, this fight should have happened already, but Jared stumbled, right? He stumbled against Whitaker a few years back. Therefore, this fight couldn't happen. However, after back-to-back impressive wins over tough guys in Gastelum and Brunson, we're here. We're here, so this fight does make sense. Impressive win versus Brunson, KO finish. I was on Jared in that one. We were on Jared to get the win. He definitely came through for us there. You know, Brunson was on a hype train, but Jared stopped it impressively. He does have that power, and that's going to be a factor in this fight too. He does have that power to hurt Israel, but is he going to be able to touch him? That's the big question here, which we'll kind of look at definitely. You know, he continues to improve each fight, Jared. He continues to improve each fight. Cardio, he's in great shape. This guy's in top-notch shape. You're just looking at him. You know, he looks like Batman. Great shape. This guy is coming into this fight. You know, Israel, we know, undefeated at 185. This is his division, right? One of the best to do it at 185. You know, I do expect Israel to be faster on his feet. If Jared decides to stand and bang for 5 rounds, we most likely know what's going to happen here, right? Israel's going to pick him apart and win by decision, or possibly maybe a late finish. Cannonier does have the power advantage, and I do think he has a slight, you know, wrestling advantage. Now, he doesn't wrestle a lot, especially in his last few fights. So, you know, Israel's takedown defense is good. He may think, okay, Jan just took him down, but he went up in division. Israel's takedown defense at 185 is solid. It's very good. You saw it against Marvin. He proved it there when guys try to take him down. Guys try to take him down at 185, and he does have good takedown defense. So if Cannonier does go down to that game plan and try to wrestle and get this fight to the ground, I don't know if he's going to be able to keep him there. Sure, he may be able to get a takedown, but Jared Cannonier is not some top-notch wrestler, right? He doesn't have a ton of takedowns, as you can see here in the graphic. He doesn't. He's more of a well-rounded guy. I think his striking is very good, but it's not on the level of Israel's, and especially mainly due to the speed. I think Cannonier may hit harder, right? It's just, is he going to be able to tag Israel? We just don't see it on the feet, right? We don't see Israel getting pieced up on the feet, and I just don't see anything different happening here. I don't see Israel getting pieced up on the feet. Cannonier's path to wrestle and take him down and grind him out, it would have had to be a main focus and Camp. He would have been just doing that. And like I said, Israel, I like his takedown defense. So I don't think that's going to be a big issue here for Israel. What I do think Israel is just beats him on the feet. This fight definitely could go all 5. Very hard to predict an outcome here. I'm usually good on the outcomes, like picking decisions and finishes. I could see this either a late finish, because maybe Cannonier, you know, getting gassed later in the fight. 4th, 5th round. We know Israel's not getting gassed. That's not going to be an issue here. But, you know, I could see Israel possibly getting a later finish. Very, very possible. So if I had to, though, I would take Israel by decision and him just looking impressive on the judges' scorecards. But, you know, it's not a lock or, you know, something I would probably bet. If I can fit Israel Adesanya in a 2-fight parlay, I may look that way. But I do think he gets it done. I do think Cannonier's outclassed here, outskilled here, and Israel stays undefeated at 185 and brings home that belt. Co-main, which some may say this is main event A, B, you know, it's pretty much the same. Both these fights should be good. Both these fights deserve to be a main event. Volkanovski minus 190 versus Holloway plus 160. Round 3, right? 1-1 in my opinion. I think it's 1-1. However, Volk wins both fights, which were super close. Very, very close, right? In this fight, you know, I do think Volk won the first one. Not fairly, clearly, but he won. There's nothing to debate too much there. But the second one, I would have to give to Max. You know, I think he dropped them once in the fight. Did have the more damage. great start. The first and second round clearly won, right? How I would look at it is he clearly won 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5, they're close, right? So if you're clearly winning 2 rounds, the other ones are super close, I would have just gave it to Max because of that, right? But hey, we are here. Volka's been in 2 big fights after the Max fight. Remember, guys, Ortega, which was a war, and he showed crazy hard in that fight. And then, of course, Zombie, who he just blew by, which we were on a finish. We were on TKO finish. I think we got in that plus 200 range for him to finish that fight, because we know Volkanovski hasn't been finishing fights. He hasn't been finishing fights, and that's what people were kind of on him about, and he came out and just finished Zombie, and Zombie was still standing on his feet like a true zombie he is. Holloway, nice performance against Yair. That's why it's hard for me to bet Volkanovski at minus 190 here, right? So it would have to be by decision. I'm leaning Volkanovski for the video purposes. Super close fight, though. I expect it to go to decision again. Holloway just doesn't get finished. Last time Holloway got finished was, I think, in 2012 against Dustin Poirier by submission. Right? So it's just hard to see Holloway getting finished here. If I had to bet this fight, which you don't, right? A lot of fights on the card. It's Volkanovski by decision. I'm not going to lay the minus 190. Definitely some value here with Holloway by 160. But why I'm not going to probably bet this fight at the end of the day for my clients is because Holloway losing 3 in a row to the same guy, hard for me to wrap my head around. There's a little thing there. I do think he's going to have a little different game plan. But you got to go look at the other ways. Volkanovski looks like he's getting better every fight, and that's hard to believe. So I think Volkanovski is going to even be better in this fight. So that could be scary. It's a tough fight to call. For video purposes, lean Volkanovski, lean decision, lean the over 4.5 rounds. But this most likely will not make my betting card due to the price. This is an interesting one. And another fight not easy to handicap. Strickland plus 100 versus Pereira minus 120. Some say Pereira rushed to this fight. This is almost a number one contender fight. He's here after a couple fights. Wild to think. This fight has a lot of question marks in my opinion. However, very exciting to see how it plays out. Very excited to see how this fight plays out. Pereira should be able to win on the feet. Kickboxing champ. No debate about that. The reach, obviously his style, he hits hard. Outstriked Israel some time ago in kickboxing, and Strickland could be hit. Huge step up for Pereira though. That's one thing. So that's one red flag. Early in his career as well, right? He has a few MMA fights compared to Strickland, almost 30, if I recall off the top of my head. It's just clear what UFC's trying to do here. Even Strickland mentioned that. It's clear they want to get Pereira to get that rematch against Israel because it will sell big and it's a rematch, blah, blah, blah. And he's also a bit older now for starting an MMA career. So they have to try to push him and see what he has, right? Strickland, just a head case. Very hard to say what he's exactly going to do in this fight. Most likely will be stubborn and try to bang with him for 3 rounds, which is probably not a smart idea, right? His path to victory, we all know, is try to get this fight to the ground. Now, Bruno Silva tried. Pereira looked pretty good. He was able to get up. Now, Bruno Silva, Strickland's wrestling. These guys aren't wrestlers, right? They're not known for their wrestling, right? You can see the numbers here. And the last time Strickland's been taking the fights down to the ground, I can't even remember. He's been standing and banging and trying to do that. I just don't think that's a smart game plan against Pereira, right? So your bet in this fight, your bet is, let's hope Strickland gets this fight to the ground. Let's hope Strickland can get this fight to the ground, and he's smart enough to do that, and he just doesn't want to bang. And I just don't think he wants to jeopardize the fight being boring and try to hold him against the cage and try to get the fight to the ground. Right? So you're banking on that Strickland goes out, heavy wrestling game plan, and that he can take down and hold down Pereira. Pereira knows this. He doesn't need to practice striking. He did this his whole life. He needs to practice, get the best wrestlers in there, try to take him down and get up. Take him down and get up. Take him down and get up, and just have a rotation and go through that the whole time. That's what he should be doing, right? And that's what I think Can Strickland take him down and hold him there? I don't think his wrestling is that good enough to do that, right? So I have to lean Pereira here. This is not going to make my card. This is a fight that I just want to sit back and watch. This is definitely a fight I just want to sit back and watch and enjoy to see what happens and how it plays out. Is Strickland going to be smart? Is Strickland going to have the game plan of, let's grapple against the cage and make this ugly and not stand and bag and try to be flashy against maybe one of the best strikers in the world? Why would you want to do that? It's just not smart. So let's see what his game plan is. Let's see if he goes in there smart. Maybe he gets hurt in the first round from some strikes and he decides, I can't strike with this guy, and take him down. Is he going to be able to take him down and hold him is the question. We'll have to see. This fight's not going to have my money. I suggest you guys tread lightly. If you're going to, it's a 50-50 fight, and it's all going to be how is Strickland going to approach it. Is he going to be an idiot like we see in his interviews in the cage? Or is he going to be smart, make it ugly, hold Pereira, don't give him the distance to control the fight, and get it the fight to the ground and wrestle? Very simple. Am I willing to put money on Strickland's mind and his fight IQ and this is what he should do? No, I'm not. Video purpose Pereira, but I'm not going to be betting this fight, guys. I'm excited to watch it, though. Lawler, minus 125 versus Barbarina, plus 105. This fight just recently got moved up to the main card. I thought they would do the Cerrone-Jim Miller fight up to, two legends fighting. But, hey, Lawler's a legend, too. Barbarina, not so much, but, he's an animal. I thought it... When I first saw this fight, I think Lawler for sure. But Barbarina is one tough son of a bitch. Seen in his last fight against Matt Brown. I thought Brown won that fight. But it was super close. It was a split decision. I think I had money on Brown, smaller unit, so tough there. But, Barbarina's tough. He's tough. Where I think Lawler could take advantage here, obviously on the feet it's super close. Barbarina has volume advantage. Right, so if this does go 3 rounds, Barbarina could outstrike him, like he kind of did to Matt Brown, right? So Barbarina does have the advantage on the feet with volume. So if this does go to the judges, Barbarina could stall. I think Lawler will have the bigger impact shots. I do think he has an advantage in the wrestling department, and I think that's where he can take advantage. If Lawler just wants to come in here, win the fight, maybe try to take him down and grapple, I think that's his easier path. If it's on the feet for 3 rounds, super close, flip of a coin. But if I do see him getting to the judges, Lawler, judges, close fight, I think they give it to Lawler, right? Future Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it, or at least one of the more popular guys. He kind of started the MMA hype. Yeah, I would look at Lawler here. It's not a bad price at minus 125. I don't love it. But I think Lawler is a good play here. Finishing the fight, probably not. Barbarina is super tough. So you may look at the Lawler decision. But yeah, good play here, I think, on Lawler. How much does he have left? Obviously, we've seen him piece up Nick Diaz. He looked pretty good in that fight, but, Diaz, how much does he have left, right? We know Lawler cannot be fighting top-level guys anymore that are ranked, but, hey, you can fight mid-tier guys like this, tough guys like this, and look good. So, yeah, I like Lawler here. I may have a client play on that. Last fight to open up the main card, which I am excited for to see how it goes. Definitely. Love every time O'Malley fights, I'm excited. Right? He just brings that energy, he brings that swag, and he brings that exciting fighting style. Right? Shows power, fun striking. He will get his biggest test yet, though. One of the more durable guys in the UFC over the years, Munhoz. He's fought the best of the best. Even though he doesn't really win when he fights the best of the best, he's been in there with the best of the best. Compared to O'Malley, when he's in there with a good guy, like Chito Vera, he lost, questionable, yes, I know, but he still wasn't able to take the damage, and he got ground and pounded out. Keep that in mind. So if Munhoz has the game plan of kicking the legs and able to kick the legs and catch O'Malley, what O'Malley's so good at is using his reach, using his movement, and getting in and out. And O'Malley's going to have a very big advantage on the feet in speed. You got to keep that in mind. Munhoz looks slower now. He's a little older. You can see in his last fights, he's not the same, right? So O'Malley, I think, is catching Munhoz at a good time, right? And yes, O'Malley's going to be the more flashy striker, the quicker striker, the better striker. but you don't want to sit there and bang with Munhoz. It's going to have to be in and out. Jab, in and out, combo, in and out. Just move around well, right? But if Munhoz can catch him and hurt him, maybe try to wrestle, but Munhoz just doesn't wrestle, guys. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers here. O'Malley has more takedowns than Munhoz. So let's not worry about that. I don't think Munhoz is going in the game plan is taking down O'Malley. I don't think he'll be able to be honest. Even if he does, I think O'Malley will be able to get up. So there's just no recent information that I can see or recent video of Munhoz taking down guys. Right? So I don't think that's going to be an issue. So where does Munhoz really win this fight? I don't really see it. If O'Malley decides to stand and bang and Munhoz catches him, or Munhoz catches him with a bad leg kick and hurts him. And then if you hurt O'Malley in the first round with the leg, he's going to have trouble moving. That's his best weapon, him moving around on his leg and feet and bouncing up and down and picking you apart. If Munhoz can catch him early in the fight, right, with the leg kicks, he's not going to have his main weapon. So that's obviously going to be his game plan, but O'Malley knows this, right? I watch all his interviews. I listen to his podcast. O'Malley knows he's going to try to kick the legs, and O'Malley's quick. So he's not going to just leave his leg out there. He's probably going to have maybe a different unorthodox style to avoid the leg kicks. It's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, I like O'Malley here. I don't love the price at 270. I'm going to have to maybe try to find a 2-fight parlay. Now, very tough to call an outcome as well. Munhoz never been finished. Very durable. Maybe one of the most durable guys we've seen over the years in the UFC. Top guys couldn't finish him. So is O'Malley going to come here and finish him? I don't know. He's been finishing everybody else. A few durable guys, but nothing like Munhoz. So I could see it going 3 rounds and O'Malley just winning on the judges' scorecards. This is a very tough fight to call an outcome from. Right? So I would have to just stay with the minus 270 and find a 2-fight parlay. But a little caution due to O'Malley's step up in competition. When he stepped up last time to Cheeto, he lost. And yes, Munhoz, little end of his career, a little slower now. So that's why I have a hard time seeing Munhoz get it. But if he gets the legs right, if he kicks the legs and hurts O'Malley, we haven't seen O'Malley in too much adversity besides the Cheeto fight, and that's when he lost. So if Munhoz somehow can get him in some adversity, then we got to see what happens. But, I think O'Malley wins this fight due to just the speed advantage and striking advantage and Munhoz not being a wrestler, right? I like O'Malley here. That will do it, guys. That will do it for this week's video. Big card. I'm excited for it. Long weekends into Canada and US. So definitely excited for this weekend. I definitely will be watching this card. You guys should as well. Like I always say, bet smart and know your limits. Take care.